Jason McCartney.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I too am speaking about the safe and sustainable review of children's heart surgery. The Joint Committee of Primary Care Trust, the decision-making body comprising of local commissioners, was tasked with considering the pattern of children's heart surgery services. And on the 4th of July, it announced its decisions, which included the news that Leeds General Infirmary will not provide children's heart surgery in the future. The 2-hour radius around the Leeds Heart Surgery Unit reaches 14.5 million people. Including check-up appointments, the unit sees 10,000 children annually and it performs around 350 operations. Now, I acknowledge this decision was independent of the government. Local councils, overview and scrutiny committees are free to refer this decision to the Secretary of State via the independent panel, and I now hear this morning they have in fact just done that, and I welcome that move. Now, our Yorkshire body was due to meet on the 24th of July, and now that they have referred that decision to the Health Secretary, I hope he will revisit this decision based on the 4 tests stipulated for redesigning services. Firstly, clear clinical benefits. The health impact assessments said that option G, I think the Health Minister would like to come in here, I'll give way.
I just wonder if I could help my honourable friend, because if he is correct, and I'm sure he is, that his local authority, OSC, has referred the matter to my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State, the process from there is that they will have written expressing why they don't agree with the agreement, and asking for my right honourable friend to refer it to the independent reconfiguration panel for them to then consider and then respond back to my right honourable friend as to whether they think the decision is right or wrong.
Yes, I'd like to thank the Health Minister for coming in there. I did say earlier it would go to the Secretary of State via the independent panel, and I look forward to it going through that process. But I would just like to go through the 4 tests stipulated for redesigning services. The first test is clear clinical benefits, and the health impacts assessment said that option G, which is the option to keep Leeds open, had fewer negative impacts than the chosen option. Secondly, of these 4 tests, clinician support. There is no evidence that this decision has the support of clinicians. In fact, most have actually given their support to the Leeds unit. Thirdly, the views of the public. Surely nothing can be clearer than the views of the 600,000 people who signed the petition to keep the Leeds unit open, and the admirable cross-party support for this campaign. And finally, of the 4 tests, supporting patient choice. Now, the survey in West and South Yorkshire clearly shows that patients would not travel up to Newcastle. And on the matter of patient choice, many constituents with recent experience of the Leeds unit have been in touch since this announcement on the 4th of July. Yes, I'll give way to my honourable friend.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way. And the evidence seems to clearly show that Newcastle will not hit that magic 400 number, making the point of this article. But as we now know that Glasgow is going to continue performing only 300 a year, we will have 2 underperforming units, having lost leads that easily could reach that. Doesn't that make the whole thing a farce?
No, my honourable friend makes a good point there. There is this assumption that all the patients that have been going to the Leeds unit will just automatically migrate to Newcastle, and I think that's a big flaw in the assessment that's been made here, and I look forward to that being explored further. As I was saying, constituents that have been in touch include teenager Seb, who recently did work experience with me. He had 3 heart operations and a pacemaker fitted at Leeds, and he wants the Yorkshire unit to stay open because he stresses the good transport links to the Leeds unit. Paul told me about his 10-year-old stepson who suffered a cardiac arrest last August. Now, his stepson had a defibrillator fitted internally, which he'll have for the rest of his life, and he said that the Leeds location was key to their family. Ruth told me about her 6-month-old daughter Eleanor, who was born with a heart defect caused by Down syndrome. Now, Ruth fears for the emotional and financial stress families will be put under by the longer travelling distances, with parents trying to hold down their own jobs, care for other children in the family and fulfil their other responsibilities. I was also contacted by the grandparents and, separately, the parents and siblings of 4-year-old Lily Rose, who had surgery in the Yorkshire unit. And they asked, how could a 4-year-old be expected to cope at this traumatic time without being able to see her mummy each day? Now, the emotional impact on the rest of the family would be enormous, and they stressed the distance from the centre is extremely important. And again, they reiterated the population figures. 14.5 million people are within 2 hours of Leeds, whereas only 3 million are within 2 hours of Newcastle. Now, those cases are real, and I've just been in touch with those families the past 2 weeks. But in the past year, I also spoke in this chamber about the families of George Sutcliffe, Ben Pogson and Joel Bearder, who have been campaigning locally as well, with their families for the Leeds unit to stay open. And I'd like to compliment them and all the families that have worked so hard in this campaign and will continue to do so. But, Mr Deputy Speaker, while I just finish up here and summarise, it's clear that these plans just don't meet these 4 tests, which are factual tests. It's not about emotion, they're factual tests. And I look forward to this flawed decision being referred via the independent panel, eventually to the Secretary of State, for these relevant tests to be looked at again, because I firmly believe, Mr Deputy Speaker, that the JCPCT's decision clearly fails all of these 4 tests for redesigning services, and I look forward to this being looked at once again. Thank you.